Hi there everybody, thanks for tuning into this video. In this video I'm going to be talking about some motivational stories that everyone has heard from most motivational speakers. And the question is, do you think these are worth hearing or not? So stick around and let's talk about some of the cliched stories that are going around, and let me know in the comments what you think. I've got 4 stories that I want to talk about. The first one is the world famous marshmallow story. Have you been hiding under a rock? Do you know what this story is about? Well, this is not exactly a story. It is actually a real experiment where researchers decided to test children's ability to delay gratification. Let me just give you a brief summary. So in the experiment, the researcher presented some children in a classroom with some marshmallows. And the researcher said, okay, I'm going to leave the room now, and please do not touch the marshmallows, because if I come back, I'll bring some more and you can have 2 of them. So the researcher went out of the room and they observed the children and noted down who did decide to take a marshmallow and eat it, and who managed to resist the temptation until the researcher returned. And then later on, they looked at the life results of the children, and they found that those who did manage to resist temptation were getting better life results as they grew up. Of course, the marshmallow test emphasizes the importance of self-control and the ability to delay gratification if you want to achieve success. There's been a lot of talk about this particular experiment, and let me know what you think. Is it just one experiment, and are the critics where they found the weaknesses of it? Does it actually mean anything? Or do you think this is a good experiment that emphasizes how delayed gratification can help you in your success? Let me know in the comments. I think it's about 50-50. I think it's actually a useful story, easy to remember, and there are points where you need to delay gratification. So in terms of usefulness, I'm just going to give this about 6.5 out of 10. Okay, the next one is the cathedral story. Have you heard the cathedral story? This has been around for years. And in fact, there are other versions where they don't use a cathedral, the storyteller uses something else. Anyway, the cathedral story goes like this. There are 3 stonemasons tapping away at the stone, and a visitor happens to approach them. He comes to the first stonemason and asks, "What are you working on?" This first man simply answers, "I am cutting stone." The visitor then approaches the second stonemason, asks the same question, "What are you working on?" The answer he gets this time is, "I am earning a living to support my family." Finally, the visitor approaches the third man, asks him, "What are you working on?" and he gets an answer, "I am building a cathedral." As you can probably tell, the purpose of this story is to emphasize the importance of seeing the bigger picture and having a clear vision, which will give you the enthusiasm and energy to focus on your tasks. In my opinion, while the message of the story is worthy enough, it's let down by the setting. At the end of the day, how many stonemasons are there? and how many people are cutting up stone and dreaming of building cathedrals. It just seems a bit too unrealistic to me. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to give this story 6 out of 10. And story number 3 is something I call the light bulb story. I bet you've heard this one. This is the Thomas Edison light bulb story. Of course, Thomas Edison was trying to create the incandescent light bulb, and he kept trying and failing. In the end, the story goes that it took him 10,000 attempts. In the middle of this work, his assistant was getting despondent, and apparently he said to his assistant, "Don't worry, I've only discovered 10,000 ways not to create the light bulb." Of course, this is a story about not accepting failure. Keep on going until you achieve the result that you want. Now, I don't know how true this is. I think the actual truth of this story is debated. 10,000 simply seems like a very convenient number as well. And also, was he really counting each time? I don't know. So it sounds a little bit made up to me. Once again, the message is okay, but I think the story, 5 out of 10 for that one. The last one I'm going to remind you about, please don't gag, is the starfish thrower. Have you heard of that? This is where a man is walking along the beach. The beach is littered with starfish that have been washed ashore. So the man picks one up, throws it in the sea. Then he walks along, picks another up and throws it in the sea. Someone watching him doing this approaches him and says, "Well, what are you doing? It's pointless. There's so many starfish around. You're never going to clear this beach. You're really not making much of a difference." So the man turns to the other guy and says,
"Well, I made a difference to that one, didn't I?"
And of course, this story is about making small differences. Even the small actions can accumulate and mean something in the end. It's a nice children's story, but really, how idealistic can you be? I think the cynical side of me says, well, yes, all right, you do need to take small actions, but, you know, it is true. Sometimes what you do doesn't make much of a difference. You need to evaluate, actually, even if your small actions are making a difference. Now, I'm sure you've heard these stories. The marshmallow test, the cathedral story, the light bulb story, and the starfish thrower. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think these stories are still inspirational and people should still be telling them, or should we just put them to rest because so many people have heard it before? The Spirit and Action YouTube channel comments on strategies in personal performance. You can get tips, tech, and tutorials on mindset, theory of mind, and ways to take action. If you found this video useful and interesting, then remember to subscribe. It just takes a click and you're there, and it would be great to have you as part of the community. In the meantime, have a fantastic morning, afternoon, day, week, weekend. I'll see you in the next video.